Hey guys, so it is the day before Thanksgiving and everyone is making turkeys, and what am I doing? I'm making root beer. I might as well have fun with my brand new camera that I got for my birthday. Who cares? We're going to make root beer, not the kind made from the bark of a tree, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'll do that someday because that's very intriguing. But today we're going to use this root beer extract. And I've tried it before. It worked out really great, except it did explode. I mean, it didn't break the container, but it did come just bubbling out of this container. And so I'm going to be a little bit more careful this time so that I can have a nice, fizzy, bubbly root beer tomorrow without it coming out like a huge champagne fountain. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Let's get started. What you'll need is a 1 liter bottle. I'm using one of those bottles that you can get on Amazon that is meant for beer making or kombucha making, and it has a great seal that will keep the carbonation in. Make sure the bottle is empty and clean before you use it because any contamination from bacteria will make it taste funny. The information I'm sharing here, I actually got from the comment section of Amazon when I was buying the root beer extract. But her recipe was for a 2 liter bottle and mine is half that. But I'll share the information here in case you want to do a 2 liter recipe. And if you do a 2 liter recipe, you can use an empty bottle of any brand of soda. So you don't have to buy one of these bottles. You would just put the bottle on its side, and when it gets really hard, then you know it's carbonated. Let's add our sugar. And because this funnel is very small, it takes a while to get it through there, but it'll happen. This is 3/4 cup sugar. There you go. There you go, come on. There we go. Use an 1/8 of a teaspoon of yeast. Simple bread yeast works, but I'm using champagne yeast. 2 teaspoons of the extract. And then fill it up to about right here with filtered water. Here are some notes if you want to pause to read them. The yeast is sensitive to heat, so warm water can be too warm and kill it. So just stick with cool water. Filtered water is best, but tap works. Put the lid on. And shake it up real good. Leave that on the counter for 24 hours. And you can actually burp it after 6 hours. Don't explode on me, please. Because the pressure will keep building.
Yes, no.
Yes. Last time I used warm water. This time I'm using room temperature water. And I can see a big difference because it bubbled up really quickly last time in 12 hours. And this time it doesn't have enough bubbles. So I need to give it 12 more hours. I'm going to put it on its side to see if the surface area will make any difference in the bubbles. All right, it's been 24 hours. Let's see how this goes. Woo! Had this been completely full, it may have bubbled out. So in my experimenting here, I've learned that the longer it sits on the counter, the more bubbly it becomes. But this foam head isn't anything like let's say an A&W root beer or something, but it has a nice fizz to it. If you wait a little longer, it does get more fizzier, but it starts to take on a tiny taste of alcohol, which of course is natural because it is made with champagne yeast. But the alcohol in this right now is minimal. You're not going to get drunk off of it unless you let it ferment for 2 weeks to 3 months like champagne. You can use the champagne yeast for all types of juices, which makes it kind of fun to make different flavored fizzy drinks. Okay, so we're done making root beer, but I thought I'd add at the end of this video a recipe for root beer cake. So you can stick around and watch it if you want to. I don't want to. Okay. Well, this is kind of fun. It's root beer float cake. Pour a bag of cake mix, vanilla cake mix, into a bowl. 1/4 cup of canola oil. 1 1/4 cup of root beer. Let that fizzle down a little bit. That almost used an entire can of root beer. 2 large eggs. And a teaspoon of root beer extract. Now stir this up until it's well incorporated for about 3 minutes. You can beat it with a blender if you want to. Grease your pan with cooking spray or butter. Pour it into a 13 by 9 inch pan. Cook this in a 350-degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes. Well, if you haven't had enough root beer yet, let's make the whipped topping. I'm using the rest of the root beer from the can, but there isn't quite enough, so I added a little bit of milk to fill the 1/2 cup. I'm adding this to some Dream Whip, the powdered kind that you actually can still find at the grocery store. Add a teaspoon of vanilla with a smidgen of the root beer extract. Not too much because this is pretty strong. Whip that up with a blender really well until stiff peaks form. So this is basically just whipped cream. So I'm adding about a tablespoon of confectioner's sugar just to stabilize it and make it thicker. Pull it out of the oven and check to see if it's done by looking at the sides to see if they pull away from the sides, or poke it with a toothpick to see if it comes out clean. When the cake is cool, take this Dream Whip topping and frost your cake. This cake is pretty easy to make. It's really not that big of a deal. It's really not that special. But it is made from root beer, and since you're using a cake mix, it's going to be pretty light and fluffy. But if you want it to be heavier, you can add a melted stick of butter, a box of powdered pudding, and an extra egg into the batter. And it does taste like root beer. It's not a strong flavor, but it does have a hint of the root beer flavor. Store it covered in your refrigerator. And that's it, folks. Hey, do you want to see the video of the cake? You want to stick around and see a video of the cake? Hey, check out this. Look into that dark hole right there. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see, kitty? Huh? What are you doing? You're not so sweet anymore, are you, kitty? Oh, sweetie, honey. Sweet. Not bad. Uh-oh, my battery's dying. Bye.